Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Sherpa, and today I'm so excited to be sharing with you how you can paint this fantastic castle fantasy scene that's Cinderella inspired. On the mic today is my husband John.
Hi guys.
He's going to be tracking me with our cameras and making sure you guys see all the actions so you can make this painting for yourself at home. I'm ready to get painting, so let's jump on into the materials and wishes, and then as we're going we'll be catching up with you guys who showed up for our live streaming art class.
Yep.
As we're going. Alright, so I have an 11 by 14 canvas board here, and we real quick grab some wishes. We've got a wish for our own Kim's ear to have some healing and restoration. We're having a wish for Dave to find awesome employment and a job. Autumn is needing some healing from surgery. Purple Frog is wishing for an appeal to work out, so like everything at work gets easy. And Daphne is wishing for Little Brush Zoe to have some healing, support, and strength while she's going through treatment. So we're definitely wishing that, like, right on her feet again. Okay, let's look at the paint colors. You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay, so over here we have Doc's Purple, Phthalo Blue, Prussian Blue Hue, Phthalo Green, Quinacridone Magenta, Yellow Ochre, and Titanium White. I have assorted craft sponges that are all different kinds of little textures. I've got a sponge. If you don't have one of these, you can actually maybe try my crumpled up plastic cling wrap method, where you make a little ball of cling wrap and get some interesting tree-like textures as well. These have been pre-moistened. And so I'm just like ready to like get on in.
They're moisturized.
They're moisturized. Do you remember moisturized chicken?
I do.
Early days of marriage. I'm going to use my plate trick. This is a little dessert plate. And then I've got a little lid here. I'm going to check the size. I think my plate's bigger, so I'm going to go with that. I'm going to come right here a little bit up from the bottom. Right? Kind of centered. And I'm going to just real quick with, this is a watercolor pencil. You could use, this is kids chalk that I've sharpened in a sharpener. You're just going to give yourself like a little idea where this moon is, because we've got to get our background in first. And my little trick here is I'm going to start putting in my moon. And then as my moon is in, I'm going to put out my yellow ochre. All the materials are listed in the description below. And we have a bunch of extra stuff on the website, including the color story, which shows the little pulled out color scheme that this painting has. I'm putting out my Doc's Purple. You might have noticed that I have no black in my painting listed under the color scheme, and that's because we're going to be using the Doc's Purple and the Prussian Blue to create kind of a chromatic black. We will use some brush technique, but very little. So just like a number 4 round and maybe a brush for scumbling, that's it. And this should be a pretty fun day. I'm going to put some titanium white here so I can lighten colors. And of course, I've got to put my phthalo green. Thank you for cleaning these caps, babe.
Oh.
The phthalo green and the phthalo blue over here.
Oh, a tip for everyone. To help your little caps stay nice and clean.
Yeah.
A little bit of rubbing alcohol on a paper towel and just spin them off. Just every couple times, and it helps clean the threads and makes.
I think that's what we've got to start doing.
Mm-hmm. They're just
gotta start doing it.
It's these little things that you just pick up.
Okay, so I'm gonna have a little bit of fun. I'm gonna get one of my, I like to call these like chicken nuggets. I'm going to get one of my little chicken nuggets. You could use like a little house sponge or this type of sponge if that's all you have and you're just like, I've got to do this craft today or I'm going to just lose my mind. I'm getting this wet and I'm taking out all the extra water, right? Because we don't want all of the extra water. And I'm just going to swirl it around in my ochre and around in my white. And I'm going to come here and just initially kind of rub this in. See how I'm swirling this in?
It's a swirling nugget pattern.
We're going to initially swirl our nugget using our plate. We're going to use our plate actually twice, but this is just a fun thing. Now, once I have that in, I'm going to come here, and at the bottom there's this kind of interesting little greenish glow. I'm going to go ahead and tip with a little green and a smidge of the blue. See how I'm grabbing the smidges? Smidge, smidge, smidge. And I'm going to make sure that I've kind of tapped a little of this. See how I'm doing?
Yeah.
A little of the sponge texture, like right here. It can go off. I just want to make sure that it's there and kind of blended. If I've got a clean area of sponge, I can soften any blends that I have. Look. So I just flip it over to the clean side to soften it out.
You're sponge blending.
I'm sponge blending. Now, the other thing that I can do is I can come in, get a smidge of my purple into this and some white. And start coming here and making my like little moon crazy textures. So I'm just around the outside edge. And I can soften this line here because I'm going to be coming back with the magenta. This is fun. This is not dissimilar in thinking to, does anyone remember the spray paint class?
Oh, I do.
You do?
I liked the spray paint.
All right, I'm going to get a lot more white on here and a little bit of my pigment. See how it's just a little bit toned? I'm going to come right in the center. And here we go, just sponging that out. Making it moon-like. It's going to be so crazy how when it becomes the moon and you're going to be like, where did that come from? So see, I've got my lighter area in the center here. And I can just tap this out if I need to blend it. All right, so I've got a nice tap there. And let's get a little more of the darks and a little of our magenta onto here. And then I've got a smidge of my yellow ochre. Look at that. And then we'll start tapping this purpleness. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Now I'm bringing this like down and making like a crater kind of shape. Get your crater shapes on. But look how little like, I get it like on the little corner there. And then I bring it in and go like vertical to blend it in.
It is such an expressive little thing.
The little sponges?
Yeah.
They are. And I'm coming around with this dark all around this outer edge here. And you notice that I wasn't very precious with that outer edge, right? Wasn't particularly precious. I'm going to get just a little more magenta in here. And come along this outside edge and warm that up. See how I'm doing?
I do.
Just a little more. This will peek out as I'm going, and I'm softening this. This is just so much fun.
This is
Softening
an excellent
it.
time to ask this.
Okay.
Tammy asked this is a technical question.
Uh-oh. Okay.
If I don't have a sponge, can I scumble it in?
Yeah.
See, that's
You can use the crumpled up saran wrap method. You can scumble this in.
See,
if you've got another painting technique, you're like, this is cute and all, but I'm not into it, that's okay. I'm not going to be mad at you.
See, actually, I originally thought that she was asking, can I scumble with a sponge? Which I was like, I don't even know the answer to that.
I'm going to just hair dry this.
Okay.
And squeeze out I'm squeezing the pigment out of my sponge. I'm going to hair dry this so I can do my cool, like, resist.
Yeah.
You know, and then, wait, let me look at it from far away.
Okay.
I think I want some more purple into it.
More purple?
Yeah. I think I want some more purple into it. A little more yellow in there, but with the purple.
Oh, there's so many people who are saying they can't wait to do this.
Oh, this is fun. Yeah, I just want a little more purple. Right there. I just was feeling like it had to be.
Ooh.
So see how I'm keeping these shapes super irregular?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a very big deal. I can always come around and lighten the center with a little white and my yellow ochre, right?
Yeah. Now, Rachel was saying crumpled up piece of paper towel she's
Yeah.
used. So.
You know, definitely. You know, don't, You're just trying to get the project in. You don't have to like perfect it like at this absolute second or be a slave to how I'm doing it in any way. Let's try this though, because it's going to be a trip when this goes.
I'll let you. Okay. So while she's doing that, I'll say the first thing is check out the description down below. You'll find a link to our website, which will contain all of the traceables, the reference images, and links to all of the other things that will help you along with this video. So you can find those in the description below. Now, the reason that she's drying this so much is that as she puts on the subsequent layers, she doesn't want the brush to pick up these undertones or them to smear and blend in with each other. So it's important to use a hairdryer to get that blending in there. And you don't have to use one with heat. Heat actually can adversely affect your paints. What that means is it can make them the color shift, or it can make them kind of not stick as well. So generally, you want to use it on the coolest setting, or just blowing. And let me turn.
I'm gonna sip my coffee.
Yeah, so you want to use your hairdryer on the lowest setting for cool, because the heat doesn't really help much. And then just make sure you get a lot of wind on there, and that's what actually helps get that layer dry, so you don't get subsequent layers sticking. Right.
Right.
When they mix and you get like grays when you don't want them.
Different little sponge, just because I don't want to be like.
Your little sponge ran away.
Well, no, it's there, but I just don't want to like mess with it, like, because it's all pigmenty and I've got fresh ones.
You got fresh
Normally,
sponge.
I would just like walk away, wash it out completely, and come back clean nugget.
But you have a show to do. You can't do that.
I have a show to do. So I have to deal with my clean nuggets later. So I'm taking a little of my quinacridone and mixing it into my purple. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to center this where some of that, where all the different little colors I have is sort of held. And I'm going to tap this all around my plate. Seeing me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm tapping this all around my plate. Tapping it all around my plate. And then as soon as I'm happy with that, I'm going to get a little more of my purple on here. Maybe darken it over towards the left side. There we go. And the moon is starting to.
Oh my gosh, that just appeared.
I know.
Your head. I was like, that did just appear. It was just like you just pulled it apart, and there was a moon.
There's a moon.
And it was just hiding there.
Now, for this part, you can, do the drag because you're kind of doing what I would call an acrylic ground here. And you're just making sure that you've got your purple in mix of quinacridone. I'm going to put more quinacridone over here. And I'm going to leave some room for my stippling. So when I come back and soften that, it's good. But I'm just blocking in what I've got. Now, the really cool thing is I'm going to flip over and I'm going to go right into my phthalo blue. I'm not even rinsing it out because it's okay if a little bit of this purple is on here. And I'm going to just go ahead and take the lower thirds where I'm going to have my dark landscape, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to come and make sure that this has got some blue in it. Some of it can come up the sides. It'll be okay. The only trouble that you might have with this is if you have too much water in your sponge, you might not have enough of the polymer to stabilize and dry. So if your sponge is like dripping water driplets down your arm, chances are you have too heavy of a water mixture in that. And just like, you'd have to have an absorbent ground, you'd have to have one here if you were going to do like really watercolory effects. Mm-hmm. I'm going to rinse this out too. And I'm going to dry this.
You're going to dry it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because on this, right now, the magic is that this is sort of like stabilized in and I can dry it. So I'm going to dry it. And then I'm going to see if my surprise, incredible gremlin can rinse these out. There was a wish to see our in-house gremlin. But, gremlins are shy.
Yes.
And sometimes they don't come out in front of the camera.
Yes.
It's like a whole thing.
I can totally understand this.
I'm
Barely,
gonna try this real quick.
like you can barely get me. Oh wait. Okay, so obviously she let me know she was going to do that. Hey guys, it's really nice to see you out here with us today, and it's been, it's a strange day, as you can see. So, man, thank you for coming and hanging out with us. It's one of my favorite things is being able to look out there and see all you guys and chat with you. And if you haven't had a chance to join us in the live, I highly suggest it. It's really awesome. There's all sorts of shenanigans. We do all sorts of stuff, and you can find more information on that at the links in the description below, because that'll find you to our website link, which will show you all about what's kind of going on here and any other referenceable materials that you might need to find. And so, yeah, check that out.
It has a nugget. I have a mysterious glass of water and sponges. 2 sponges. There were 2 sponges in that cup. Yes. Yes, there were. Don't run the garbage disposal. Okay, so I'm going to keep the sponging in the sky. And on this side, it's much rosier and it goes much more to the quinacridone and it is warmer. And then on this side, it gets darker. So I'm going to come over here and say, all right, here's my quinacridone. I might even, oh, look, 2 little sponges. And I didn't scream, which is like really cool because sometimes I do. I've taken a little of my ochre and I'm coming over here. You can kind of see how it's a little bit warmed, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to go ahead and stamp up this side so that it's soft and cool and blended. All right. I'm going to take this up here. And you can see how the purple underneath is sort of helping us. Right? And that's what you're going to want, is to make sure that your purple underneath is helping you. Now, as I'm going, I can get a little more of this purple into this and even start to come around. And I'm just pouncing up and down. Can you see I'm just softly tapping up and down? You had a makeup blender, right? This is not a dissimilar thing. You could also like get a texture up here that'd be interesting with the saran wrap, or gosh, with bubble wrap. Just play with it.
Maybe paper towels. Or...
Yeah, paper towels. And remember, the clean side of the sponge can blend a lot. I'm going to keep darkening over here. I'm going to get into my purple and my Prussian blue.
I want to test out my fancy words.
Your fancy words?
One method is additive and the other method is subtractive. With the sponge?
Yes.
When you roll it over?
Yes. Good job.
Okay. So
you're going, but I'm like, yeah, that's actually true.
I just want to make sure. I'm not sure.
So we're just definitely darkening through here, right?
Yep.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to definitely darken through here. And then we'll come here and maybe catch this upper corner down into this sponge here. How's that looking?
That looks pretty cool.
Let's back up and take a look. All right. So let's start pulling into, we've got some interesting lighter values. So I'm taking a little of my white, as you can see. And just pouncing some of this, look at that, into this space here. Just here above the moon, brightening this up. I'm really grateful that they give us a ton of little craft sponges in the craft packs.
Yeah, I like all the little different shapes that you come with. Nice little assortment.
Yeah, and I'm sort of super glad that they also have the, I'm grabbing a clean one because I want to go more to the quinacridone. I'm also really glad that they have them at the dollar store, so there's sort of that inexpensive, economical option. All right. So I'm going to get right into a little of my ochre and some of my quinacridone and some white. Look at that. And I'm mixing it up. There we go. There we go. Tapping this lighter value out this way a little bit.
Now, there was
That's sort of fun, isn't it? Isn't that pretty?
Now, Jennifer was just asking if our website had the videos on it, and yeah, actually, our if you check in the links in the description below, it has a link up there where you'll find the traceables, our reference materials, a link to the pre-show, and in that pre-show, we talked a lot about the blue exchanges that you could do.
Yeah, we talked a good bit about that. I'm pouncing in some pure quinacridone over here. Enjoying that. You can see I've just got some nice little mixtures.
Now, I noticed that it's darker on one side and pinker on the other. That's okay, right?
Yeah, that's I'm using the reference to make that decision, and I like that because it gave some values to play against, and it implied a more dynamic kind of background, kind of sky.
I really like it, but it's okay for it to be uneven. You don't have to make it nice.
Yes.
Because I really like it.
It is completely okay. Now, I want to get a little bit of a green glow.
Yeah.
But if I do green there, I've got my quinacridone, and so it could mess with my green glow coming up. So I'm going to dry this side so when I do a little bit of green, so that as I put the plants up, it's going to show up really well. Okay. You guys ready?
Yeah. So again, it's really important to make sure you dry that so that as you put on the next layers, you don't pick up any of those underlayers. And that's especially with sponging techniques and scumbling techniques. It's really easy to pick up those underlayers. And with acrylic, you're either blending or building layers. Like, I'm sure there are other things we can do, but those are two primary things that we do a lot of here. And that's why it's important to get those that hair dryer out, or your air mover of some kind. Again, not too much heat. I talked about that again earlier. You want these on the lowest setting so that you're just getting air in there. Oh, just talking about your hair dryer, and you're setting it on low, so you're just getting air out of it.
Yes. Yeah, I do try to keep it on a lower setting. I'm going to take a bunch of my ochre over here and get a smidge of my phthalo green. Isn't that nice? And we're going to just make sure that some of this, if you guys, I don't know if you caught the subtlety of it, I'm just going to bring it up here, was coming up behind the castle just a smidge. I'm going to make sure, wait, sorry, I didn't disappear. I didn't. Okay. I'm just tapping and softening this out to just make it a light amount of pigment color, like you have. I just brought that over here. Because again, if your sponge were too wet, you wouldn't be getting the effect that you want. But there's some nice little greenish kind of cast. Add a little bit. And then this is almost actually for the background sky. Mm-hmm. Pretty close to totally done. Which is exciting because that is more than halfway through on the painting. All right, because when it comes together, it'll come together super, super fast. Now we're going to brush work in a little bit of stuff at the base. We're going to put in our castle and our silhouettes, and then we're going to layer in some top layer trees, and this whole landscape's going to come together in a crazy way. Now this little glow here only is going to work really well for you if the layer underneath was dry. If it's getting muddy on you, that's what happened, is your underneath layer was not dry. Let's get just a number. I'm going to use a number 8 cat's tongue. So you could use a number 8 bright, a number 8 filbert. It would not be particularly problematic or urgent. I'm going to take a little of my Prussian blue and my phthalo blue. And I'm going to come here because what I have here is a little hill. It kind of comes down. It's going to come underneath here. And then, you know, come on up because that's, you know, what the castle is sitting on. And I'm going to just brush this right over. You know, this sort of dark, interesting little value coming around this corner. You can see, and because both of these colors are transparent, it's like they're like a glaze. See the interesting way that they layer on each other?
Yeah.
I'm going to get a little more of this dark color. And even in this case, I'm going to go right into my Doc's purple. Because there's a couple side colors, corners that are super dark, almost chromatically black. Which means it doesn't have any black in it, but it reads so dark as to ostensibly be black in the painting. So we've got to build that up, and I'm just going to scumble that. See me just brushing that brush backwards and forwards, and I'm going to do the same over here, just layering that up. Because that's what we're doing. We're layering the layers.
This is a very pretty, I love the purpley layered colors of this.
Yes, me too. This is like my favorite thing to work in. And all right, here we go. So I've got that sort of darkened value coming on the outside. Hey, babe. I've got this darkened value coming on the outside, and then in the center, I'm going to want to kind of aqua it up. So I'm going to need to rinse out my brush pretty well. Or switch brushes. Right? Because we're going to come right here and make sort of a little bit of a highlight. I might need to put out a little more phthalo-ish blue. Phthalo blue. And I definitely am going to need a little more Prussian and Docs in my composition, so I might as well put those out while I'm here, right?
Yeah.
So here's my Prussian. It's a great color. One of my favorites. All right. Here we go. And now I'm going to take a little of my green into my phthalo blue. It's going to start giving me this sort of aqua. See? And I'm going to come brush right here this aqua area in almost a smile and up the hill a smidge. You guys see that?
Yeah.
And then maybe back here a little bit, I go back and forth. See, I'm wiggling my brush. Comes a little bit, and then it goes a little bit further to the right, coming back, making this uneven little landscape line right here. If I lose my dark values, I can always come back with just the Prussian right here and make sure that we're still good. You can even work some of that back in here, see? If you lose your shape, but you want this to be a very uneven kind of random edge because you want it to feel like things feel when they have something natural going on about them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do a couple of fun things. I'm actually personally going to make, like, I'm going to have my little carriage here, but I'm seeing like a little area where it could have some blue kind of almost fog or smoke. And I'm going to take my green and a little bit of my phthalo, but I want it to be more phthalo. And I'm going to come along here. I'm going to take my brush. See this right here? All along this moon.
No, you're not using any glazing liquid here,
No, this is that the phthalo is so transparent that, but see how I'm making this little uneven little space? I'm going to wipe this off, and you can even...
Are you using any water to thin that? Or is
Nope, that's just phthalo.
That's just the natural thinness of phthalo that's doing that.
Yeah, see now look how I'm scumbling this up, and it creates that sort of... Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So there's just barely, look how little, it's just barely any pigment. My brush is dry. That way I can have sort of a little scumbly bit here. Scumble, 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 rumbly, scumbly. But see how that's that crazy misty glow?
Yeah.
I got a little happy with my misty glow.
I like
but,
the misty glow.
Sometimes you have to.
It puts the ambiance in it.
I'm going to get just a regular braid or maybe like I think actually I might do an angle. A nice 1/2 inch angle. But what you want is a brighter angle or anything that gives you a nice sharp edge. I'm going to use my T-square. You could use a paper towel or anything. What I find is I can have trouble with my straight lines.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to give myself a little guide, and I use this. These are inexpensive. I just want to make sure that if I have spires, that they're straight.
So you're not, making any Italian towers?
For sure, mine would lean. I don't know where you guys live, but for sure, my towers would absolutely be leaning ones, and so there's just no point in pretending like it would be anything other than that. And I'm going to come in, and I think I'm going to be mixing up my Prussian and my Diox, because that's going to be my silhouette color. And I'm going to just try to use the edge of my brush to help me get my shape, right? My sharpness. That's how I'm going to do it. You could use a bright, you could use a round, whatever was going to give you a nice sharp edge for your silhouette. And I'm not going to fight, interestingly enough, on this because of the nature of this piece. This sort of textural, I might even lean into it and add some more, right? I'm going to have 2 side spires here on each side. There's a traceable if you don't want to freehand a castle out. You can see I'm just using the mix of Prussian and to be the black. I don't really need that much water on this. The brush is it's so sharp and so stiff that I think won't be a
brush are
problem.
you using there?
I am using the 1/2 inch angle.
1/2 inch angle. Okay.
Yeah. Angles are very interesting brushes. They do a lot. And I'm trying to make sure that all of my little towers are kind of different heights so that the castle feels storybookish.
Mm-hmm.
Like it can. And I will just, wherever I need to widen and then paint what I can solid, and you know how you do.
Yep.
You know how you do. So I'm going to bring this down. I think then I got to flare that out a little bit. Just bringing these down. Storybook style. Not Storybrooke, which is the property of Channel. It does not need to come and sue me. Storybook style.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring this little rectangle down here, and I'm going to add a couple more architectural elements in my silhouette, and then I'm going to put my carriage in and my little bonsai tree, and then I'm going to show you how to get the rest of the trees, and then we're done. Seriously, It's like that quick.
This is coming together really fast.
Yeah. I'm going to just bring like a little longer support structure, like a porte-cochere. And I'm just using my brush to help me, be squared or architectural. You could measure out or, do all kinds of things that you wanted to. It's all good. I'm going to just... if you have a favorite castle silhouette you want to use, you could use it here. I am under obligation to not use a certain giant conglomerate's castle silhouette.
I think that just everybody is.
All I'm saying is nobody knows what you're doing in your home. That's all I'm saying.
Well, once that image turns into a brand image, it's very hard to
Did you get any kind of like permissions?
Must, respect the wishes of the castle owners.
Yep.
We'll
And
just
their highly identifiable castle. But then, I mean, since the Eiffel Tower has lights at night now, we're not allowed to paint without permission. I'm sorry, this is very funny to me. I'm going to just try to get a little lip on that because I want it to have like a little sort of...
It's a mini
coming
tower.
in the castle. See?
I always have
It's a very impossible castle, right?
It's every time I see fantasy castles, I just think of the Princess Bride. They can have fun storming the castle.
This is definitely it. Now, see, because of the way that the kind of crazy texture and everything of this painting, the texture in the castle is actually a benefit.
Yep.
I'm going to now do my little carriage and horse and tree, which I'm going to do hopefully all with one brush. Let's see how it goes. This is a number 4 round. I'm going to take you and mix you guys together and hopefully get a pretty decent silhouette color.
Yep.
How I'm doing this is I'm going into my water and I'm kind of, can you see I dip and then I swirl around and then I roll off. This is thinning my paint. My other option would be that I would have to get like a fluid paint. Right? So first I think I'm going to do the horse. So I'm going to put the little curve of the neck in. And maybe a little barrel of the chest. And from there, figure out what the heck I'm going to do. Again, you guys have the traceable, but you can follow along with how I do this. So I've got my little neck and chest in, and that gives me a sense of scale and size. I'm going to add a little ball at the front. See what I'm doing? That's going to give me the basis of his little face.
Hmm.
Then I'm going to bring this down, taper it in, and that is his little horsey head.
Okay.
And I'm painting with just one. All right, I'm going to put my glasses on. Let's own this.
No, but you could...
Woohoo! All right, there we go. We can see.
Now, the good thing about using this horse is about how tall is a horse at its head?
Depends on the type of horse.
So, like, say this horse.
Let's say this horse is 14 hands.
Okay. So, would that be like 5'9"?
No. I don't know, like 5'7". I'm not really sure.
All right. So people were just kind of curious. They're like, how tall is this horse? So like, let's say they want to put a wolf or a unicorn or a bear or a dog or other kinds of things in there. They were like, well, how tall is the horse? For reference.
No. Right now he's got a bit of a badonkadonk coming on. Let me work that out, guys.
So this is a 14 hands tall horse.
Yeah, I just randomly shouted that out.
Randomly just determined that.
I'm gonna give him a little foot, okay? Just needs a little foot.
I like his little foot.
Okay, and then he's going to have another little leg here. Because he's up prancing.
Now, if you're not comfortable just freehanding it in like this...
There's a traceable.
There's a traceable.
Like, I'm, like, pretty good at horses. And even right now, I'm like, man, what was I thinking?
You're like into the horsey way.
Okay, now I've got him in a gallop. Because that's my problem.
I guess that's tall for a horse, isn't it?
No.
No?
18, 20 hands would be tall for a horse.
18
I'm
or
going to
20.
give him a little tail and a little mane. Flicking my little brush, right?
So he has some flair to his hair.
He's got some flair. This horse has got some flair. All right, so let's think about this little carriage that's here, right? So it's got to come back a good bit. Let's say his little carriage comes back about here. I'm going to give some tack that implies that, hey, yeah, the carriage might be here. I'm going to do a couple wiggles. All right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
And now this carriage got big, so he's going to go up the hill a little bit. That's just how that happened. Your traceable doesn't do that to you.
Joe, that's okay.
I'm going to kind of arc this up, and then we'll say make a little crown shape, right, for decoration. And then maybe even a little step down shape also for decoration. Okay, you've got some crazy tires going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make these solid because things went crazy for me. All right, and then we're going to say that at the top here there's a little bit of a little flourish.
So you could totally...
Feels pumpkin-y. Let's say that feels pumpkin-y.
Could be.
Right, and then some other little flourishes. See, I'm just using this one little brush, though.
Flourishes.
I want to say, hey, guys, I haven't even switched the brush. And then I'm going to make the little pumpkin-y shape. So let's say... There we go. And I have a carriage.
Yep.
Or not, but...
Carriage is good.
Maybe not.
So they're laying some math on me, I'm thinking this horse is taller than 14 hands.
Okay. If he's a really tall horse, I apologize.
He's got to be a taller horse than that.
Okay, he may need to be a taller horse than that, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to get a little bit of white because I do want my wheels to have spokes. And I'm just going to use this trick.
Oh, you're just going to highlight them.
Yeah, I'll just fix it by going like this.
Oh, wow.
So I do want it to have spokes, and I didn't get them in. So that happened, and that's how I got around it.
Nice.
And then I can just be like, hey, maybe you have some highlights.
I
and so
love
therefore
the
it makes sense what I did there. How's that? Ha!
I like the highlights. That adds a lot. Now they were saying you could add like a horn or wings to this horse.
Yeah, I would think so.
And just that's totally up to you.
There you go. Now he's got some little highlights. See, so there we go. Carriage. Some stuff happened. I don't know what to explain.
I think it's looking. I like the carriage.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. We need some little bush here, and I'm going to get a little nugget. Where's my little nuggets? I need my tiny nuggets. I need a tiny nugget. There is a tiny little nugget. Come here, tiny nugget.
Where are they now? They're hiding?
It's hiding. So if this is a small nugget, and I just want this much of the nugget, and it's going to be like, hey, here's a little dab tree that's right there. See? Little dab tree. And I might dab some tree back here and start to dab some stuff there. I'm not going to move this, though. So, and then we'll just say that there's...
Tiff and like many other ladies here would like to just say thank you. They feel like you designed this painting just for them.
I'm so glad.
And they're just like, thank you very much. I have just found this and I love you for doing this.
I love being able to do it. I'm going to add a quinacridone highlight because I think it'll show.
A quinacridone highlight?
Yeah. Yep. To this tree.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. So you're using the shadow color to make the highlight.
Isn't that funny? But I needed I want it to look like a little tree, so.
But then it's a shadowy tree.
The shadowy tree. I'm gonna give it a little bit of pink bush. Pink bush right here. All right, there we go. See, it has a little pink bush now. And if I had to, I could be like, oh wait. Come here, quinacridone. I need your help. And quinacridone will be like, well, I don't help nobody. And I'll be like, yeah, you can help me. And I could tap a little highlight on that bush.
Oh, yeah, that just added a perfect little...
See, let's see how that goes. Let's look away. Let's look away. All right, so now we got a bush, and we got a thing, and we're going to make some trees.
Ooh. Where are you going to put the trees at?
Some trees here and some trees here. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to, quinacridone the heck out of these trees. Come here. Queen. Like Daria's sister. That's how much quin I'm putting out. That's how serious I am about it.
While you're putting that out, Lily would like to send you an art hug.
Huh?
While you're putting that out, Lily would like to send you an art hug.
Hi, Lily.
She said you bring so much light into her life. She just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you so much.
So it was very nice comment here from her. So I pass it on to you.
My glasses are fogging because it's hot.
It's a little warm today.
It is a little warm.
We've had some fluctuating temperatures in the studio.
We have. All right, this is just pure quin. See how bright that is?
Pure quin.
Even on the surface, look at that bright quin. Yeah, it's crazy.
You're gonna do it on the same side, just that one side.
I've got this. Well, there's it comes down a little bit. Then, you know, there's a little bit there, but mostly the quin is here. And then it's, you know, it's a little tree. And the tree might even come past that. See?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So nice quin tree. And then we've got a little pop of quin down here. See? Like it's like a weird little bush or plant base. See how that creates that weird...
Yeah.
So crazy, right? I'm going to put you aside for a second. I'm going to get you your slightly different texture. This is another one of my Crafty Sea sponges. Now this, I'm going to use...
What are you doing?
Do I have my palette knife? I don't know if I have any of my palette knives. Let's try to find one. I got one. I'll work this one out. That's okay. I'm going to take a little of my green over to my... Phthalo. Make sure that there's a little white mixed into it initially. And then we will hop it up into a brighter green. So I'm going to take this little weird shape, just tap this in, and we're going to come over on this side and do a tree on this side. And look at that pop.
Hold on, let me get over there. Oh, you're right. It does pop.
So see, and we haven't even put the dark value into it first. Look at that. Super fun stuff, right? And that's how we do. Do.
Yes.
All right, so a lot more green. A lot more green. So that was a little bit of the green mixed into that with some white, so it will pop. Look at that. There's your bright green highlight.
Ooh, I'm going to zoom in on that.
Some of that down here. So I'm just tapping this in and saying, oh, how bushy you are. Right? That's pretty fun. That's pretty cool. But guess where this can also go? When this is dry, I can also put it over here. So I'm going to dry this real quick.
Okay.
So that this is still wet on my sponge.
Okay. And yeah, she's going to dry that so that the next layer that she puts on there doesn't pick up that undercolor and mix up and make muddy colors. She wants them to be nice and crisp. So we're just going to make sure that that's nice enough. Oh, don't forget to check out the description below. You'll find a link to our website, which will have the traceable. It'll have the reference image. It'll have a link to the pre-show where we talked about different colors that were exchangeable. Like if you don't have Prussian blue and you'd like to exchange it, we talk about some of the different things that you can exchange it for there. Let's see. And there's links to all of the other projects in the series. Don't forget about those. We had the book and all the wonderful girls that are really in this fantasy series. So you can find a lot of that. That's all kind of happening. I know that those are, part of some of those are BAQ, but I'm just enjoying all of this stuff. I know that some of you guys are too. So looking good.
Thank you. I'm going to sponge this. You ready?
Okay.
This has got, some of this too. Look at that over that pink.
Oh, man.
Isn't that crazy?
And that's why you dried it, is make sure that got that pop.
Yeah, so pop, pop, pop. Because we definitely want it to pop, pop. And I might even go, whip. You can have a little bit of down here too. All right. So now I've got this fun sort of mix, pink and all of that, right?
Yeah.
And I got to find one of my clean nuggets that I can do a dark color on. This is clean enough. Woo! Just squirted that. Purple pigmented juice everywhere. Beautiful messes will be made today. Now I'm going to get right into my Prussian, into my Diox, right? Because this is quite dark.
It is quite dark.
Right? And this tree has some darkness to it, doesn't it?
Oh, yes. It's quite dark.
But it has these pops. And so the back side, I'm going to darken that up. And it's okay that I'm putting in some of these dark values into this tree shape. I've got one here. See, but I want to leave it still very tree-like. And you can always come and take a little of your white. And give it just a smidge right there. Now, this side, same thing. has this dark color over here, so let's get right on in it. Look at that. Now we've got the dark Rococo, we've got that happening. That's going really, really well. We'll put out our ducks and our Prussian, and we'll put some birds in.
Yeah.
How is everybody doing? Did they have fun?
Oh, yeah. You know, Sherry and lots of other people here have just been echoing that they wanted to just say thank you, that you've been a great inspiration for them to start painting, and they love your tutorials.
I'm really glad. I'm really glad you guys are like always up for fun.
Yeah. And
like that we're not like, oh, we got to do it the same way every time. You're like, all right, are we sponging? Sponges up.
Now,
that's awesome.
You don't get to see the chat, so we don't.
I don't.
Because you get distracted by chat.
I get a little distracted by chat. That's a super true.
I'm the distraction buffer, which is ironic.
It is kind of ironic. I'm going to make some of my darkest color on my little round brush, and I'm going to do a couple things with it. I'm going to come right here and maybe add a few branches.
Ooh.
Just a few. They're like very like, you know, sort of in here, and you know, you can be like, oh, there's like a tree in here. You know, and you can have some coming up here too on the other side. Just a few. And here's what's fun is you can make some weird little vine swirls.
Now, what brush are you
feel
using
like
there?
it. Just using my number 4 round.
Oh, just a round brush.
And these are just some weird little textures that you can have. And the other and last and final thing that you can put in.
The last and final?
The little birds.
The little birds.
The little birds flying away. Flying, flying, flying away. I like to make them lots of different sizes. This is just something fun that you can do. And this is that kind of a piece that you can take as seriously as you choose, or, you know, be as relaxed as you choose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can be like, hey, I'm going to make all these little branches, and I'm going to be super fiddly about it. Or you can be like, man, I don't know what I want in this thing. That's
amazing.
also okay. I'm going to take, I think, a little of my aqua color here. My color surprise that's over here, and I'm going to just be like, sign this little sucker up. There we go.
Yeah. Now,
woohoo! We
this
did
is
it.
Pretty amazing. I love this painting. This is one of my favorite ones you've done. And we did this one really fast. This one came in really fast. And
this is just a fun bit of art joy. Like sometimes we can get wrapped up in what we're doing. We can take ourselves way too seriously. We can forget that art first has to be kind of fun. Like who wants to take the joy out of coloring? Coloring should remain joyful.
Now, you had put together some reference materials that are up on the website.
Yes.
Including, let's see, there's the reference. What is this thing?
That's the color story, so you understand like what colors you might find in this painting. And now you can see how we mix those out, right?
And you've got those up on the website?
That's on the website. You can download the PDF of the reference. So if you want to paint this in a different style or methodology, I will not be upset. And also we have a traceable, because if you're like, I don't want to freehand all that crazy in, you don't have to. It's like all there. So every way that you're ready to create, that you're excited to create, we've got you.
All right.
All right. And I guess including the pre-talk about this thing
you can
from
find
Facebook.
That's all out there. Yeah, the Facebook pre-link. We'll put that on the page there too.
So I think the next time we're officially supposed to see each other is on Tuesday, because we have the makeup of the Big Art Quest.
Yep.
Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we want to see you with Easel really soon. Bye-bye.